Hi everybody, this is Kathleen Hinesley with Exploring Dimensions for All. And today I'm going to talk to you about how you can pay attention to emanations and vibrations that may be coming from rocks in the environment, certain types of cement, different kinds of building materials, metals, woods, and things around you that you may not normally consider to be having an impact upon you, and ways that you can choose materials that will be better for your mental and physical health. So I'm not a doctor. I've got to kind of put out this disclaimer, but I would consider myself to be pretty sensitive, reasonably psychic, and I have some information on gemstones that I've read about. And I know that for a long time people have believed that gemstones can affect mental and physical well-being. For example, this labradorite is supposed to increase psychic ability. Amethyst is supposed to be good for health. Gold is supposed to be good for health. There's all kinds of different recognized properties of gemstones and metals. But there are also a lot of things we don't typically pay attention to that we may be living around, and things that we could bring into our homes or bring around with us in our pockets even, that would help to stabilize us mentally and emotionally. So you may want to watch my videos that start off real or fake and then talk about precious metals and gemstones and how you can actually get vibrations from things like rocks. But it's really not that complicated. So basically, this subject came into my consciousness a little bit louder recently because I started to order materials for a one-room cabin that I'm building. And I didn't even think about it, but I needed a well and, a septic tank, and I had to choose wood, and I had to choose sand, and I had to choose rocks, and, building materials and all these things. And I, being a really sensitive person, I asked if I could go along with the construction company and the project manager and really feel things to make sure that they agreed with me. So that's what I did. So I noticed really, really marked differences in the emotional qualities that I was receiving from the things in my environment. So while most people recognize that, well, not most people, but many people adhere to the idea that gemstones affect our mental and physical health, a lot of people don't think about building materials and rocks. So first thing that I did is I went around to feel different kinds of wood. And in this town where I am, there's one kind of wood that's typically used to help support the house, and another kind of wood that's typically used for flooring. And I really, really liked the flooring wood better. I really, really didn't like the support wood very much at all. In fact, I felt some negative energy coming from it, almost like the trees that were cut down to get the wood were angry about it still. There was like a vibration of anger in that wood. And so then the guy I was with said, well, I'm sorry, that's all we really have in this town. And I said, well, let's go to a different store. Let's go to a different wood supplier. Maybe the location that the trees grew on would be a little different, and it'll make the vibrations a little different. So I went around and I touched the wood. So if I touch this wood back here, I'm going to feel a little bit different than if I touch the chair here, right? So those are different kinds of wood. So what do I feel? Well, when I touch wood and rocks and metals and things like that, I have to give myself a minute because it's as though I'm listening for something. So if I pick up this rock and I hold it, there's usually some kind of an energetic and or emotional quality to it. And that will continue to affect me as long as the rock is near me, close to me, held by me, carried by me, worn by me, or in my house, or under my house, or being used to build my house. So I'm going to pick up these different rocks and kind of give you an example of how this works. Okay, so when I pick this one up, there's a little too much energy in this rock. So it feels a little bit too buzzy to me. It might be hard to go to sleep if I had this near me. Okay, so let me pick up this rock. Okay, this is generating a feeling of There's also too much energy in this rock for me, for who I am, but it also has a feeling of love and connection. So there's a little bit of like a feeling of family, friendship, love, something like that coming from this rock. Okay, let's try this rock. Now these two rocks are pretty similar, so they're different colors, so they may have different amounts of minerals in them. So let's try this rock. Okay, this is drawing in wisdom. I really, really like this rock. I feel like there's some kind of mysterious wisdom that's coming in through the top of my head. I feel like there might have been spiritual teachers around this rock at one time. Feels very, very good to me. If I could get a bunch of these and put them underneath my house, I'd be really, really happy. Okay, so let's try this rock. This feels extremely youthful, almost like the energy of a little boy that's running all around the tables and giggling and laughing, and it feels very, very good, and I would say that it would probably give me energy if I had it near me or around me. So in an era where it's very difficult for some people to choose their environment, a lot of people are in low-cost housing, some people don't have any housing at all. Some people would like to move, but they can't, or they had a nice house, but now there's something in the environment that's very agitating to them, whether it's power lines or a chemical plant or something like that, but they can't move, okay? And there's a lot of situations like that. It's also hard to pay for food that's organic and really healthy sometimes, or you have to travel a long way to get to it. And so we're just dealing with so many different kind of negative feedback loops. And so I just wanted to present to you the idea that you can actually go out in the external environment. If you're homeless even, you can choose a place to be at that feels that like you feel happy when you're there. And I understand people get kicked out of certain places and it's not always a choice and so forth. So let's say you don't have a choice. Let's say you're in the middle of a city and you kind of go in and out of shelters. This is a dire and extreme circumstance, but a lot of people are in this circumstance. Well, then what you can do is you can go around and you can go to the park and you can pick up rocks that make you feel really good and really balanced. Sometimes they help me sleep if I put them on the top of my head as I'm falling to sleep, or if I just hang on to them, depending on the type of rock. And I believe this happens because we are light beings that have atoms and molecules, and they're all moving. And so do minerals, so do rocks, so do woods, so do metals, so do materials, so does everything in our environment, including plants and animals. And there's a bit of exchange of energy, or like an interface, where each place can feel, each item can feel the other item. And so what might be a good rock for me may not be a good rock for my friend. So you do have to pay attention to how you feel. Now this kind of argues against online shopping a little bit, because when you're shopping for furniture, most people are very visual when they shop. I would encourage you that if you are able to touch something before you buy it, I would strongly encourage you to do that. Because it may look good and feel bad, or it may look bad and feel good. And for me, for what I buy, I always try to go with what feels good, even if it looks bad, because I'm always trying to give myself as much environmental nutrition as I can so that I can feel balanced. Okay, so these are kind of experimental videos. You've got to really try these things out for yourself. They're going to work for some people very well, and other people may need a little more practice to feel things in the environment. I hope this has been helpful to lots of people of different income levels. And if you do have to do online shopping, it might be nice if you can touch somebody else's thing that they got from the same source, because the energetic properties of that thing may be similar. Plastic is pretty inert. I don't really get a lot of different feelings from plastic. So you're pretty safe with plastic unless they've used some sort of chemical glue type thing to put the plastic together, and then it can be pretty agitating. But otherwise, I'd say buying plastic is not a big deal. Metals and stone and wood, those things are pretty, and material, that's all pretty energetically dependent. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Exploring Dimensions for All, and please give this a thumbs up if you liked the video, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I hope you'll come back. Thanks for viewing. Take care. Bye.